I've noticed in the conspiracy circles, after a time, people get absorbed in, get in the habit of, and thus they will call it an addiction to scandal. I never get used to it, hearing like the plans, but once you hear them, you don't need any more. Like, but it sets us on fire. It gets us upset. And maybe we haven't felt such passion in such a long time when it's revealed to us just how corrupt the people in authority have been. The shock when somebody does something outrageous, scandalous, violent, abhorrent, and all the neighbors were like, "There's such a quiet person. I never would have expected." And then they learn about what that person went through, the torture, everything like that. What it comes down to is everything that is absolutely abhorrent, everything. We looked for security outside of ourselves. We ended up with a government that's going to give us absolute security, that we are cattle, our lives are in their hands, as long as we aren't looking to our Creator, because all our lives are in our Creator's hands. Misconception. You can do absolutely everything and anything except look to the one true Creator. So it all just comes down to, these are the wages of sin and death. When we hear of corruption, the wages of sin and death, violence, the things that they do to people, to children especially, these are the wages of sin and death. And so, by not being scandalized by it, once we realize, reading through the scriptures where it describes how a woman seduces a man to her death, right there in Psalms and in Proverbs, it describes satanic rituals. They existed then. They still exist now. Those are the wages of sin and death. That's all we need to say about them. But if we're scandalized by it, we are invested in it, we are not separated from it. So we want to separate ourselves from the fruits of sin and death. And so when these things come up, we just remind ourselves, those are the wages of sin and death. I need to separate myself from that. And people who keep these traditions, people who engage in these practices, people who consider such and such funny, witty, smart, they're not. Those are the fruits and the symptoms that lead to the wages of sin and death, which are the corruption, the violence, all of the satanic worship and everything like that. And another thing that I've noticed is a soothsaying spirit. And now I know why I wasn't comfortable with like charismatic type Christians. And it's not just big churches. It's the old backwoods church with maybe 10 members, and it's a charismatic preacher or a certain member of the congregation that takes the lead in speaking in tongues. And a phrase that I commonly hear is, "I got a word from the Lord." And it's like contagious. And they're always telling you about the future. And now even AI is producing videos that prophesy, like, oh, this happened in the spiritual realm, warnings and things like that. A soothsaying spirit. It is all within the people who profess to be Christians, born again. They have key terms that they repeat. They don't speak like a normal person, like I had this experience. No, they have their deliverances. They have, and that's all a symptom of a cult. I read the cult recovery books when I came out of being Jehovah's Witness, how they use terminology to cement in a concept, associate that with a feeling, a spirit, and they think it's from God. Which we have examples in the scriptures, and when he said, okay, you think deceiving the people through all the prophets is a good idea, who wants to do that? The Son of God stands up in the heavenly throne room, says, I'll do it. Goes down and puts a lying spirit in all the prophets except for one. So those are just things that I've observed and have wrestled with myself. You know, people come, oh, can I pray over you? No, don't you do anything over me. I've got my covering. I've got my covering. My Creator has seen to proper covering for me. I don't need to be covered by anybody else's prayers. I'm trying to think, is there anything else like that I've seen? But yeah, those are the main things. Just realizing that the spirit of being scandalized, we can get excited once we come to terms with, these are the wages of sin and death. Pizzagate, the wages of sin and death. Then we can allow in, now that the nervous system is used to channeling excitement, moving excited energy through us, we can start getting excited about the things that our Creator is doing in our life and give thanks and praise for those. And then again, the soothsaying spirit, it is very heavy, the deliverance spirit, very, very heavy. Born again, like they have, oh, have you been, they have dates and times, and I'm just like, in the spirit there is no date and time. This is all happens outside of time. So hopefully that helps somebody, gives them insight, because I really do not see, if it comes to getting a digital ID in order to log on and use my computer, and there's going to be a lot of people, like, it's not even worth browsing YouTube anymore, because it's scandal, the tickling of the ears, the soothsaying spirit. I am coming across somebody who's just being a normal human being, doing normal things. I don't find too many of those channels because they don't have too many, they aren't pitched, they aren't pushed by the algorithm, and it's because people are craving these things, get their passion up, they're overstimulated, they have to direct it somewhere. So yeah, the algorithm is going to reflect that, the governments are going to reflect that. People shout violence towards the president reflects back, all right, you want violence in your experience, you're getting violence, and he will be violent, and he's made that very clear. So people are asking for it, and they're just the wages of sin and death. Don't turn to soothsaying spirits, because they'll be just as misleading. We already know. We know how the story ends. Those who draw close to the Creator will have a good ending. Those who do not pay the wages for sin and death, because they don't want to be excused from them. It's already covered. We had the Messiah, we had the sacrifice, the Lamb of God. But people do not want to take. It's like being in prison and your parole hearing comes up. You're like, no. I'm a bigwig in this jailhouse now. Big fish, small pond. I get all the good things. Everybody treats me with respect. I think I want to stay. I get my food every day. I got a place to sleep. I'm staying. And they don't even go to their parole hearing, or they sabotage it. Basically, that's what we do when we remain in sin and we do not avail ourselves of our Creator's forgiveness. He says anybody, any creature that turns around and repents and turns to Him can avail themselves of that parole and get out. And that's another thing, reading through like the book of Yashar, Jubilees, and all the forbidden texts. Cryptids are listed in there. The first time kid loses his donkey, goes looking for his father's donkeys, comes across a half human, half beast. Again, another guy. People are being terrorized by this half human, half animal creature. He goes, he destroys it, and he's a hero. He becomes leader of their army and king eventually. So we have cryptids, we have descriptions of satanic rituals right in the scriptures. And now we see it, now we know it, now we chalk it up to the wages of sin and death. We draw close to our Creator. We get excited about our future with Him. That's the only way to go.